What's up, y'all? I'm DJ Premier.
And my name is Royce 59.
And we are PRhyme. And you are checking out
HotNewHipHop.
Like mid 2016, when we decided let's go ahead and start. Actually, about almost like around summer. And we already knew the process was going to be the same, except for Ant-Man Wonder was the new sound instead of Adrian Young. So being that was already understood, and we already have music set aside. We've been getting music from Ant-Man since he came out with Layers album, because he did the Trust the Shooter pre-album, and he wanted Trust the Shooter to be a taste of everything he's got coming. The introduction of Heaven Studios, Layers album, PRhyme 2, just everything he's got coming, to let people know he's a lot of Royce different things are about to be happening. So he was like, yo, can you just give me a little snippet PRhyme joint, just to let people know we are working on it. So that's why we did Black History back then, while I was on tour with my band. And so it was obviously unfinished, so we stopped it where we stopped it, but it was way longer. He had other verses and everything, but we ended up just saying, let's keep it short, but just extend the hook a little bit more, which is why he sang at the extension part. So that had really started PRhyme then, but then we stopped for several months. Then next thing you know, we were back in, and he came and did 7 songs like in literally 2 days. It was where I even went home to get some rest. He was still up, wide awake, drinking his monsters and laying it down.
Yeah, I did Black History at home, and it actually is broken down over the span of 2 trips. So we did the Detroit. I did a couple joints in Detroit. He sent me a couple beats. I believe Rocket was the first one he sent me when we officially decided we were gonna go. And he he sent it to me with the scratches laid on it already and everything. So it was, when he speaks to me with his hands, he basically tells me what to do. You know what I'm saying? So when I heard Come Around and Rocket, it was like self-explanatory for me. You know what I'm saying? So like we started with that one, and then we did a New York trip, the trip he talking about where I drank plenty of Monster and got done like a whole lot in a little bit of time. And then he flew to Detroit, and we did a trip in Detroit where I drank, I believe, a whole lot of Monster again.
Yeah, other flavors.
Yeah.
Usually like the one with the green logo.
I ran out. It hasn't really changed since I was a kid.
Really? Yeah.
Nah, not really.
Same. Except I'm on a different MPC.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of talking. A whole lot of talking. The only thing that's different now is I went through a period where I kind of got irritated with the talking, because he likes to talk. Like, he likes to tell stories and stuff like that. And I like to, in my mind, feel like I'm always getting shit done. And then it took for me to spend a lot of time around him to realize that all the talking is a part of the process. Like, that's how the magic happens. Y'all got to feel each other out, and everything just got to feel right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when we get in the lab, we just talk like how we do on the phone. And in between time, we laying shit down. He laying shit down. He laying shit down with his beats, and I always let him do him, and he always let me do me. So I'm never like, hey, yo, man, why don't you change that snare? Hey, man, why don't you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly.
You guys gotta trust each other.
Yeah, it's exactly like,
Resume speaks for itself.
it's exactly how it was when I was a kid. When, I was nervous around him. You know what I'm saying? That was the only difference. I was nervous around him. I was just letting him do his thing, and the only thing that was on my mind was impressing him with the verses and the song concepts and whatever I was going to do over his beat. And it's the same thing, minus the nervousness. Like, when he does a beat, I just want to impress him.
Yeah, I mean, as a hip hop head, it's like a dream come true.
Yeah, it still is.
Like,
It still is.
Like
It's surreal,
a
man.
dream almost.
I tell him I hate him all the time. Like, get on the phone, I'll be like, yo, I hate you, right?
It's like when we dig, I don't like somebody going, yo, there's some hot shit on that record to sample, because then if I do sample it, then they're gonna go, yo, I gave him that record.
I hate that.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
hate that.
And that happens in our world of producing. And the cats will be like, yo, I want my credit because I gave you that record and showed you that loop. So I dig on my own, so you'll be like, where the hell did you find that? And what record is that from? Because that's part of the fun of it, yeah. And it's the fun of the whole mystique. So to take somebody where I'm getting one source to just use their sound. I'm worried about the sonics sounding too similar and stuff like that. And that was the challenge. And then the song Prime was the first beat I made. So when I sent it to Royce, and I hadn't heard Royce rap in a while because he had just gotten sober. So this is gonna be my first time hearing him rhyme sober. And again, it's not a doubt, but I was worried, like, damn, is he gonna still have that bark, that same just Royce that we all love as fans? And I'm a fan too. And I always tell this story. I was at the Golden Globe after party that Puffy was throwing because I was about to go back to New York, and Joaquin Phoenix had hit me up and said, yo, we're all at the party, me and John Abrams and all other friends. You should come down and meet us. And I was like, you know what? We're going home in the morning. I'll sleep it off on the plane. And right when I got to the door to leave to catch a ride to meet them at the party, Royce sends me a text and says, yo, I just sent the first joint. You want tell me what you think? And I was like, I'll listen to it on the way, when I get back to the hotel before I catch my flight. And something just told me, nah, listen to it right now. As soon as I listened to it and I heard that drum roll, and he said, gather round, it was something about the way he even said that. It sounded like, okay, he's good. And I just sat there and listened to the whole thing, and he kept saying, Prime, I'm in my permanent prime in the hook. So I just wrote Prime as I call them dummy titles until we come up with a name. Ended up doing maybe 2 or 3 more joints. Then he said, yo, man, when we finish this project, how about we call ourselves a group instead of Royce the 5'9" DJ Premier? And I was like, well, what do you want to call it? He said, why don't we call it Prime? He said, but let's spell it capital P, capital R. That stands for Premier and Royce. And then HYME just encompasses everything hip hop. I was like, I love it. And he said, but let's push that name, not us. And let's just keep making sure that name becomes the name. So it was foreign to a lot of people of what it was in the early stages of the first Prime, and then they started to get it, once videos and the touring happened. But this one, Prime 2, everybody just like, yo, will there be another one? So that's really how it all came together. But I agree. The same thing with the digging process. That's why I felt like somebody's giving me all the records. But the good thing with Adrian was he said, just do your thing and then let me hear it when the album is done. And he, I found what I thought I could hook up, give it to Royce. The album started out as an EP that turned into an album, and then we were off and running. So Man Wonder was already like, okay, got it now.
Is there any other people like that you almost work with? I read somewhere you said something about Madlib was on your brain. And
that was one of the choices, right?
We were talking about.
He's a legendary.
Oh yes, I finally met him, man. We were just at a spot at Soho House, and he was just like, I cannot believe I'm standing next to you. I said, yo, and we had a good conversation, just kicking it. Yeah.
He like a mad scientist.
Yes, he is.
We talking about him, Frank Dukes. We spoke about the Westbound catalog. It's like a lot of options.
Yeah.
But it basically just came down to what. First of all, Ant-Man got right on it. He got ahead of it. You know what I mean? Like he started sending mad shit. And PRhyme, just before he could make a decision, because it ultimately is up to him. Like whatever's gonna drive him to the studio and inspire him to want to make something is what we want to go with. So it wasn't like, yo, we got to go with this person. We got to go with that person. It was just like, yo, here's a whole bunch of options, and it's just up to you. He called me one day and was like, look, we going with Ant-Man Wonder. We're going with Ant-Man Wonder. I'm like, I'm getting crazy ideas. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, hallelujah. Amen, let's go.
I would do something that's close to the variation of, I would do a variation of what's close to that sound and that style, where if you blended the two, you could still make a match in a mix, or just playing them, next to each other. You'd be able to go, yo, this actually is in the same world as how that record makes me feel. I could do that. All for the Cash with Gangstar was a record when everybody was doing the bounce and everybody's doing this. That's like a bounce record to me, but it sounds like a Gangstar record, and it sounds like a Premier production the way it bounces with the that I was doing that purposely to say I can make a record that could blend with those bounce records. It could blend with Big Pimpin'. It could blend with Hey from Crucial Conflict. It could blend with any of those records in the same bounce pattern, but it still had my head nod. So. I've thought about it. Haven't done it yet, but it would just have to be the right situation to make me do it. But it would still have to be where I can accept and love it too. Because if I don't like it, it's not leaving the studio. Mine is Flirt with 2 Chainz. Again, I always step outside of myself and picture what I know I would be bumping if I'm driving. I like loud music. I love driving. I just sometimes just drive for hours just to drive and just crank the music up. I listen to rock. I listen to classic stuff, blues, jazz, everything.
Things hit a certain way in the car.
Yeah, but it's like shout out to the homie Panchy from NYG's album coming soon. He called me this morning. He's blasting Flirt and he's singing the lyrics all the way through, and I'm like, damn, that shit sound good on the phone. On the phone you can't hear the bass and everything. And I'm like, he said, man, I can't stop playing this. And he said, and 2 Chainz just bodied it. And he said, and Royce, he called Royce and told him, yo, man, arcades in jail. He's, which is a dope line. So that's one of the ones I'd be looking at people just like, you hear that? Yeah, you hear that? That's what I would be bumping.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about your favorite verse?
Favorite verse? It would have to be the last verse on Gotta Love It.
Wow.
That's it means a lot to me. It means a lot to my city. I had a chance to show another side of myself that a lot of people don't know is there. It's a verse that kind of defines someone who's been through a lot, and who kind of sees the way. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm kind of chosen. I'm favored by God in a way. You know what I mean? Like I tried the super negative approach, and I tried being angry all the time, and it just didn't work for me. So like for people who've been following me to see that kind of growth, and to see me just kind of, because my karma is like instant, man. Like I always say that. Like I could do something wrong that's just not right, and then something bad that just happened to me. You know what I mean? Like it's like I got tired of just fighting against the universe. So ever since I've been going with it, everything just been kind of cool for me. You know what I mean? So like to write a verse where they used to me being so high impact, full contact, offensive, you know what I'm saying, like aggressive rapper, I kind of laid back in the pocket and just spewed love for a whole verse.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, for one, I think you should grow with your fan base that supported you from day one. So my fan base, I want to keep serving them what they love about me already, and they want more of that boom bap raw. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep serving you that. It just, it's just an update. Gurus always say we update our formula. It's the same thing. That is still my process. You keep updating the formula, but still feed your fan base. If another fan base that I'm not used to joins in, that's fine too. But I'm not pressed to gain them. If they're not with what I do, that's fine. You can hate it. You can say it sucks. But my longevity will always outlast yours if you don't respect the history. And my whole style's based off the history, where when we were in the clubs and we were going to functions, even before we were really popular, even with Gangstar, if you were a biter, if you had a rhyme flow like somebody else, you got beat up. Like you would get stepped to in the club and beat up over a flow. Like that's my flow, and get stole on. I don't know if it's like that now, with the young, yeah. So when I hear a lot of the records, I like the Migos records, I like certain 21 Savage records, but at the same time, I want to be able to distinguish who's who when I hear it. When I hear 21 Savage voice, I'm like, I know that's him, because he's laid back, but I know that's him. When I hear Migos, I know, I get to tell by their voice. Uzi Vert, I can tell by his voice. We don't. We're just not from the. We're from the originality standpoint of constantly staying original and not sounding the same. Because if you were that way, you would be disregarded, and I don't want to be disregarded. And then I like to also grow like legendary rock artists and pop artists and R&B artists. As they grow, they still make continuous music that's good. Well, I could be 52 and still bang it out. I never thought I'd be going this deep into it at 52, but that's dope. But I also never counted it out. I'm just gonna keep on rocking, doing what I love. You know what I'm saying? So I love hip hop. I grew up from it before it came here. So I'm supposed to keep on doing it. And I'm gonna just stick to my formula.
I think Trendy is good. Trendy on purpose, not so good. Because we've been around for a long time, so it's like we've seen all the different here today, gone tomorrow things. And we've heard record executives saying, this is what you need to be doing right now. This is what everybody is doing right now. That's good advice coming from them because it make them money at the time. But for you and your longevity, it goes away with the trend. Whatever it is that you're doing to fit in at that time, once that trend goes away, whatever you contributed to that trend goes away with it. So that's basically death to parts of your catalog. It comes in many forms. The 2 Chainz thing happened with just us sitting around talking, listening to the song over and over again with just the verse and the hook, the first verse and the hook, and saying, man, we love this. This is crazy. We love it. We talking about it. I'm drinking my Monster, PRhyme doing what he do. You know what I'm saying? And we just kicking it. And then next thing you know, my little brother says, hey, man, what you 2 Chainz to kill this? And we like,
Yep.
Because I've been trying to work with him for a long time because I always felt like Chainz is like, he get his just due.
Yeah, he's a lyricist.
He gets his just due amongst his peers.
Yeah.
Like every artist knows that Chainz can go. Yeah. We all know. We all know.
That's what's so funny too, is because a lot of people of my era were already hating before they heard it. They're like, PRhyme, how could you? Because Chainz put it out there that he was on it, where we don't like to disclose who was on it till pretty much near the last minute of posting it on iTunes, which is why we just posted track 1 through 17, just to keep people from, rumors that spread that who was on it. But so for him to announce it, I was getting tweets early before we even finished the album. Like, how could you put it on there? He's not hip hop. It's like, how is he not? Number one. Number two, how would you think we would put him on there if he couldn't hold it down? Like, we didn't give him no instructions. We just told him what the song was about. He said, send it. And then within 2 days, he sent it right back and was like, yo, tell me what you think. He said, if not, I'll work on it again. And I was open. But, like, I knew he was going to kill it anyway.
If not, I'll work on it again. That's that humble shit.
Yellow Wolf, too, same thing. He said, yo,
but we don't need you to work on it again.
Yeah, Yellow Wolf, too. If you don't like it,
we sent you the beat. Yeah, and you did the same thing all the other MCs do. You sent me way more bars than I asked for, and you kicked my ass. That's just what, huh?
Do you ever rework anything after you've been, like, you lay out a track, so-and-so says this verse, and you're like, oh, shit, I gotta go back and...
I rework things a lot, but not for that reason.
Okay.
But I definitely I rework things a lot. I don't mind if somebody's verse is better than mine, especially if the song feels right. Because, man, you gotta think about it. There's so many different... I was in Slaughterhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of got used to getting out rapped. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really a big deal to me no more. Yeah, it's like not even a competition. It's just my role in the group was always to make sure I brought the song home. My job was to make sure we came out with the best song. Crooked's job was to murder the song. You know what I mean? Like, Joel would come in and murder shit like most of the time, and add like a personality kind of color to it. And Joe was always the dark horse at the end of the song. So we all had our roles, like the superhero type thing, you know what I mean? But, bro, if I did end up with the best verse, it was just like, hell yeah, got that one. But at the end of the day, I wasn't tripping.
Yeah, none of the artists on the albums were they may be briefed on what the song is about, but we weren't like, man, I hope they're gonna do what they're supposed to. We're just excited to get to hear what they're gonna say, and everybody came with it.